This meeting that you're planning with the Chief Minister of Punjab later this week, he has said some pretty strong things about some of your ministers, things that they have called defamatory. Are you going to raise that with him?
I always raise Canada's interests. Canada has been unequivocal, both myself, all my ministers, our government, on a policy of one united India. We have been very strong on that and will continue to be.
Abigail Beeman, Global News. There's been some talk in India and at home that your welcome here by Indian government officials was not so warm. A junior minister met you at the airport and the Prime Minister didn't accompany you to his home state of Gujarat today. What's your response?
I last met with the Prime Minister just a few weeks ago in Davos. I've met him a number of times in various places around the world. I'm very pleased to be here, looking forward to sitting down with him on Friday. But in the meantime, as you've seen, we are engaging as we must with such a deep and multifaceted relationship as the friendship between Canada and India. It's not just about political ties, it's about deep business and economic ties that we can and will grow. It's about the connection to education and speaking with students today. It's the religious and cultural ties that are so important to so many people in the diaspora and around the world. This is a meeting, this is a trip that is filled with different aspects of the relationship, and will continue to engage with India in a complex, multifaceted way.
You mentioned your meeting with civil society representatives. We were told that the names of those people or groups wouldn't be released because some had concerns for their safety. I'm wondering how far you're willing to push on the human rights file in a country that has such big challenges.
I think people are beginning to know how I approach these files. I am extremely vocal about standing up for human rights, freedom of the press, rights of civil society, every time I engage with any leader of any country. This is something that I do in a respectful but firm manner, as Canadians would expect, at every opportunity, and I will continue to.
Prime Minister, good evening. Omar Session, CTV News. There are farmers in Saskatchewan who are counting on you to make headway on the issue of increased tariffs Indians have slapped for Canadian pulse products, and yet your agriculture minister isn't here, your trade minister isn't here, and earlier today you referred to the issue as only being a slight challenge. I'm wondering, when you meet with Mr. Modi, how will you convince him that these tariffs have to go, and when will they?
I brought this issue up at the highest levels with Prime Minister Modi a few weeks ago. I will bring it up with him again on Friday. I will continue to talk about pulses and agricultural exports from Canada, imports to India at every chance I get. Indeed, when I got off the plane in Delhi, I had a conversation with the agriculture minister on a quick conversation where I said I would look forward to making headway on pulses. This is an issue that we will continue to stand up for and defend Canadian interests on, as I have been all the last times I met with the Prime Minister.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Jagdish Kariwal from Toronto, Canada, from Canadian Punjabi Post. There's a good number of Punjabis living in Toronto and Vancouver area, and there's a huge demand among them to start a direct flight from Toronto and Vancouver to Amritsar. Even the Brastic Halls, I have written you a letter before you start your trip to India. So what our government is doing to start that process? Is there any negotiation going between India and Canada to start that direct flight?
Certainly one of the fundamental purposes of this trip is to deepen the opportunities for Canada and India to work even closer together on people-to-people ties, on business ties. And flights is certainly an issue that we're happy to work on. Much of it comes down to a commercial decision by carriers, but at the same time, as a government, we're happy to encourage greater opportunities for Canadians and Indians to connect better, to invest better, to grow our economies, and to collaborate closer.
Mr. Prime Minister, my next question is, I have traveled previously with the Prime Ministers and the Premiers. They all go to Punjab, they all go to the Golden Temple. Their Punjab visits just become photo opportunities. I haven't seen any business ties developing with Punjab and Canada. Is there anything that we are doing during this trip to develop better ties between Punjab and Canada for the business?
Well, I can't speak to what wasn't done on previous administrations' trips to India, but I can certainly emphasize that every aspect of the relationship we're looking at right across the country, whether it was today in Gujarat, whether it's our ministers engaged across the country, having tremendous meetings, not just with politicians, but with business leaders, with various influential leaders. These are the kinds of things that deepen a relationship and create better opportunities for Canadians and for Indian citizens. I look forward to having a great visit to Gujarat, to Amritsar and the Punjab. I know there are deep connections for many Indo-Canadians with the Punjab, but there is always a lot more to a relationship than just photos, and that's certainly a big part of what I'm looking forward to. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you.